Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 773.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about how to successfully negotiate everything from your rent to your cell phone bill. And this advice actually comes to us from Shark, Kevin O'Leary, who was written up in CNBC, and this article was written by Taylor Locke. And he gives advice on what to do to negotiate. So let's hear what he has to say. Economic turmoil caused by COVID-19 has left millions unemployed and struggling to pay rent and bills on time. In fact, 14% of Americans said they've spent their emergency savings to cover expenses since the start of the pandemic, a recent CNBC plus Acorns survey conducted by SurveyMonkey shows. One solution is to speak to your landlord or lender and ask for leniency on the bills, Kevin O'Leary tells CNBC Make It. So what's the best way to handle that? If you're in financial trouble right now and you're negotiating, let me tell you the number one rule. Make them understand that you're good for repayment in the long run, O'Leary says. As soon as you get back on your financial feet, you're going to make them whole. Any provider that understands that you care about them just as much as they want you to pay them will be more likely to give you some flexibility, O'Leary says. Speaking with your landlord, cable, or cell phone provider or lender and explaining that you have a plan can ease the negotiating process and allow for a repayment plan to be made, says O'Leary. Detailing exactly how you plan to pay back any amount owed is a good idea, Kelly Long, financial planner and member of the American Institute of CPAs Consumer Financial Education Advocates, previously told CNBC Make It. To do that, Long recommends starting a dialogue in writing, offering to give at least a partial payment if you can, and from there set dates for repayment with your landlord or lender. Once your plan is set and agreed on, be sure to communicate any hiccups as soon as possible. For example, if you need to skip a month's payment, Long suggests asking to spread the payment out over the following 6 months or over a time frame realistic for you. Remember that your landlord needs income too, so approach this with empathy with what you're asking, Long said. Clearly explain that you're just paying late rather than asking for free money. O'Leary also suggests asking to speak with retention officers when negotiating bills from cable companies or cell phone providers. A retention officer aims to retain you as a customer, he says. The company wants to keep you as a customer. So if you're having trouble with a person yelling at you on the phone, calling you a deadbeat, speak to the retention officer and tell them that you're going to make it up to them as soon as you get your job back, as soon as your furlough is over, O'Leary recommends. People understand we're in a pandemic, O'Leary says. They just want to hear it from you. So get on it and be honest with them. And the sooner the better, experts say. That's what really matters. End of article. Well, I agree. Communication is really important. And if you're going to be late or not able to make your rent payment, for example, communicating with your landlord is super important. You know, it's easy to feel shameful or to want to hide out when something like this happens. That's a very common feeling that people have. But really staring it in the face and realizing you're not less than because you have a financial situation or a temporary gap in pay is what you really need to do. It's not about judging you as a person and your worth. It's definitely not about that. So nobody can make you feel that way without your permission. So try to step back and be objective and say, it's a temporary income situation. You know, there's an old saying, broke is a temporary condition, poor is a state of mind. Broke is a temporary condition, poor is a state of mind. And you know how we talk about mindset on the podcast. So yes, it is about mindset. It is about getting after it and just talking about it in a very factual way without trying to take on the shame and the blame and feeling bad about losing your job or being furloughed or whatever it might be. Try to be objective and talk about money as if it's outside of you. It's not you. It's not your image. It's not your worth at all. It has nothing to do with your worth as a human being. So if you're feeling that way, the best thing you can do is have some conversations about it, and that will help you get out of any shameful feeling that you might be experiencing. So I like this advice from Kevin O'Leary. I don't always like what he says. I think sometimes he can be a very cold shark on the show, but I did think that this was worthwhile advice to share with you to get you thinking, maybe give you a strategy if you need one, and I'm all for that. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, hit the subscribe button so you'll be immediately notified when new podcasts are available and you never miss one of them. And if you're looking for a good financial book to give you some new direction, check out You're Already a Wealth Heiress, Now Think and Act Like One, 6 Practical Steps to Make It a Reality Now. This was voted one of the best all-time wealth books by Book Authority, and it gives you a plan on how to proceed and move forward to get your wealth and your financial freedom back on track. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.